We got Caitlin, we got Paige, we got Juju. Who do you think will shine brightest?
Well, that's exactly why I'm not picking Caitlin Clark.
Matt, that girl Juju, she is the real deal.
Juju Watkins ain't the same as Caitlin Clark. Playing in Los Angeles at USC is not the same as playing at Iowa. Well, Caitlin Clark was in Iowa, in the middle of nowhere. So she built a huge following right there in the state of Iowa.
The attempt to establish a rivalry by the mainstream sports media is not supported by the evidence. Caitlin Clark is not only outperforming Juju Watkins, but she is also competing at an exceptionally high level.
Exposed again. Ratings down 22%. Attendance down 30%. No Caitlin Clark effect. No dice.
And Juju is a bigger baller than Caitlin Clark.
They will regret that they took Caitlin Clark number one.
It's not racism that's keeping everybody in Los Angeles away from Juju Watkins basketball games. You have to dominate at home.
Caitlin is a supernova, and Juju probably is a better player.
Support Juju the way y'all supported Caitlin Clark. If you don't, you're racist. It's not.
Clark consistently sets new attendance records and captivates millions of fans each time she plays, a level of impact that Watkins hasn't quite reached yet. The gap between their influence is not just large, it feels nearly otherworldly.
Mover in women's basketball, college or pro, is Caitlin Clark.
The media continues to push the narrative that Watkins is the next big star. But if that's true, why do her games struggle to generate excitement? And why do viewership numbers drop when Clark isn't involved? The empty seats speak volumes. The reality is hard to ignore.
We should be talking about her the way we talked about Caitlin Clark last year.
Juju gets covered all the time. I cover Juju. I talk about Juju. It's great for the game. The idea that Juju and Paige have not been covered is just...
Let's be honest. The stats clearly show that Juju Watkins isn't on the same level as Caitlin Clark right now.
And notes that the viewership for the first round was up 43% from 2023, with an average of 257,000 people watching the first 2 days. But it leaves out the record-breaking viewership from last year, where viewership averaged 469,000. The 2024 first round, that number was boosted by a whopping 3.2 million tuning into Caitlin Clark and Iowa's 91-65 win over Holy Cross. The difference between this year and last year represents a nearly 22% drop. ESPN is literally scared.
Caitlin Clark isn't just an outstanding rookie. She's become a cultural phenomenon. Her influence alone has helped the WNBA break viewership records, boost ticket sales, and push major sports networks to rethink their coverage of women's basketball.
Is the GOAT!
She signed my jersey! So happy, I'm crying, I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just come and see her.
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are the most popular team in the WNBA. It is good for the entire...
In contrast, Watkins's rise appears to be largely media-driven, rather than sparked by widespread fan enthusiasm or packed arenas. Just compare the turnout at Clark's games, where demand has reached historic levels, with scalpers earning thousands for tickets, something unprecedented in women's basketball.
Madness attendance drops 30%. Attendance for the opening rounds of the Women's March Madness dropped from record numbers seen the previous 2 years when Caitlin Clark spiked interest in the tournament while leading Iowa to consecutive Final Fours. What the hell happened to 2024? Where's those numbers? Why are you not talking about it? We know why, because you don't want to come out and just admit the ratings are real down.
By comparison, Watkins' games have often been marked by sparse crowds and a noticeable lack of energy, suggesting that the hype may not fully reflect reality. Meanwhile, Clark's WNBA debut attracted nearly 17,000 fans, shattering the Indiana Fever's previous attendance record, and even her preseason matchups surpassed expectations.
WNBA, I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlin Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say, 15 to 18 game Caitlin Clark.
There simply isn't the same level of excitement surrounding Juju, Her games haven't sparked the kind of passion or energy seen with Clark.
Is a bigger baller than Caitlin Clark. I said it.
I
said it.
Yeah.
I said it. And it has nothing to do with black and the white. The statistics say what everybody needs to be knowing. Juju is a better athlete than Caitlin Clark.
Show us the stats that you're referencing. I mean,
this leads us to television viewership. Clark's NCAA championship game set a new record as the most watched women's basketball game in history, drawing an impressive 18.7 million viewers.
Fever or not, whether you like Caitlin Clark or not, it has gotten to the point where we can no longer deny the fact that they are the biggest draw in the WNBA, and they proved that all of last.
She consistently outperforms NBA games in viewership, something that's never happened before. Caitlin Clark has transcended basketball. She's now a global celebrity and a sports icon.
Last year, they just weren't prepared. Yeah. She was prepared.
She's had a full offseason now.
No. She's going to be great. The league just didn't know what to do.
Juju Watkins isn't even in the same conversation. Her games haven't shattered viewership records or sparked national discussions. There's no viral buzz, mainstream crossover, or widespread appeal.
Sold out games after game after game. She had a connection with those people that was special. She carried that connection and that fan base to the WNBA. She dominated. Oh, she's being denied something. Then y'all better treat her like Caitlin Clark. So how can we treat her like Caitlin Clark? She's in a different body of water. Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp both played the card of, we should be talking about Juju Watkins the same way we talked about.
The media's clear attempt to position her on the same level as Clark is obvious.
Girl, that young lady y'all got at USC right now, Juju.
Incredible.
Hey, I tell all them bitter, angry girls of the WNBA and are upset about Caitlin Clark. Move over more, because Juju is special. Number one, I would give a shout out to Caitlin for what she's did for women basketball the last 3 years, man. It's been incredible. And I wish those women would embrace it. But, Matt, that girl Juju, she is the real deal.
She's going to be bigger than Caitlin Clark. And I don't even know if that's possible for what Caitlin Clark has done for.
If Watkins were truly comparable to Clark, there wouldn't be such a desperate need for continuous promotion. The effort to create a rivalry-lack substance, as the data clearly shows, though it's often overlooked. The comparison falls apart as soon as you examine the numbers, which reveal that Watkins isn't the household name they're trying to make her, doesn't draw large audiences, and doesn't dominate the ratings.
LA is racist. They just won't support Juju Watkins. LA, did they support Kobe Bryant? Did they support Magic Johnson? Yes, they did. The explanation is deeper than race.
Despite Watkins' talent, we've seen players with similar abilities before. So, if we're going to compare them, let's do it properly, examining their influence, skills, and stats side by side. The truth becomes undeniable when we do. As a generational player, Clark elevates everyone around her, commands attention, and shapes culture. Caitlin Clark is, and will always be, in a class of her own compared to Juju Watkins.
To be so phenomenal that 10, 12, 15,000 people are coming to her games in Los Angeles. Juju Watkins is in LA. There's a lot to do in Los Angeles. She should have gone somewhere where she could be the big fish in the small pond. Who knows if she's better than Caitlin Clark? She plays a game that's more female Kobe Bryant than female Steph Curry. Caitlin Clark
shattered the NCAA scoring record for both men's and women's basketball as she left college, finishing with over 3,900 career points and averaging nearly 32 points per game in her final season. She's not only a prolific scorer, but also a dominant defensive force with an incredible shooting range. Pulling up from 30 feet became routine, and opponents were forced to pick her up as soon as she crossed half court due to her deep ball accuracy, creating more space on the floor than any other player in women's basketball.
I'd be lying if I told you that I wasn't rattled, seeing Juju floor and crying.
From a human perspective, watching Juju Watkins in pain like that, it was gut-wrenching. It really was just a devastating moment. She floats, she flies. Watching her move on the court and then go down in pain like that is...
While it may look impressive that Juju Watkins is scoring 27 points per game, her efficiency is where things start to fall short. Despite Clark making far more contested NBA-range threes, often against some of the toughest defenses in the country, Watkins shoots just over 30% from beyond the arc, while Clark consistently stays around 40%. Watkins is still learning how to convert volume into value, as missing shots frequently doesn't translate to elite status.
Watkins suffered a horrific injury. I haven't seen any Caitlin Clark fans talking negatively. I wish I could say the same for fans of Juju Watkins. Caitlin Clark did officially put out a statement on Juju Watkins, fantastic statement. But somehow, some way, people that can't stand Caitlin Clark are now turning this into something it's not. They will find any reason to try to bring this young lady down.
Scoring, however, is just one aspect of the game. It's something you're born with, not something you learn. Clark's vision and creativity allowed her to dismantle defenses in college, where she averaged over 8 assists per game. Her ability to read opponents, anticipate their moves, and make precise passes turned every possession into a potential highlight. Watkins, on the other hand, isn't creating, she's just making shots, as evidenced by her disappointing 2 assists per game.
Watkins suffered a torn ACL in the first quarter of the Trojans' win over Mississippi State. She will undergo surgery, bringing an end to her illustrious sophomore season.
Caitlin Clark put this out, sending all my thoughts and prayers to Juju. Kid will come back stronger than ever with a big red heart. Those are great words. 1.2 million people have seen this already, but people cannot have it. They cannot let Caitlin.
And that's what separates a scorer from a game changer. With her leadership in passing and control of tempo, Clark can dominate even when her shot isn't falling, making her a tremendous asset regardless of the box score. On the other hand, if Watkins' jumper isn't dropping, she struggles. There's no effective backup plan. It's a weakness.
She can put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, Euro step, one leg, three-point shot, mid-range shot, and she can play outstanding defense. She'll sit in the chair. She can block shots. She can slide. Even though she's in polished of the best that we've seen at the women's level.
Juju,
absolutely.
I'm telling you that right now. She is the package.
She's done great, but her stats actually do not measure up to Caitlin Clark.
Let's be honest. No female athlete has faced as much media pressure as Caitlin Clark in decades. Despite the immense pressure, high expectations, and packed arenas, she responded night after night to the crowds who came to see her. She wasn't just playing the game, she was carrying it. Watkins has yet to walk that path. She hasn't experienced the widespread criticism of leading a program, nor has she faced entire fan bases laughing at her while she scored 35 points and smiled coming off the bench.
Everything about race and color, as a person of color, referring to someone as kid is usually done by an elder, like generations older, or said by someone in your generation, but in a belittling way, as if you are trying to, quote,
The media has been desperately searching for someone to challenge Clark ever since she took the spotlight. Unable to stop her, they've turned their attention to other players, and that brings us to Juju Watkins. Clark's success has been earned through consistent performance, not through media spin or marketing gimmicks.
Forward to seeing Caitlin Clark play, that are mad she's on national TV. They're gonna brutalize her again.
But here's the issue. The numbers don't lie. Clark's WNBA debut set a viewership record with 2.1 million viewers. Jerseys flew off the shelves and broadcast deals became more valuable due to the massive ticket sales and media coverage surrounding her first game. The excitement for Clark is genuine and driven by results. As for Watkins, she deserves recognition, but her debut didn't make a significant impact. There were no viewership records, no ticket shortages, just quiet cheers from the same media outlets trying to manufacture an artificial rival.
Juju will be better than Caitlin one day. But right now, Caitlin as a senior, Juju as a freshman. To me, Caitlin is on another level, and that's no slight to...
Clark's impact goes beyond viewership and scoring. She has brought more sponsorship money, media attention, and overall excitement to the WNBA than any other player in the past 20 years. She is a walking brand, and it has all been built on substance. While her skills are undeniable, if someone's entire public persona is based on trying to become the next Clark, it reflects media creation rather than true dominance.
The Caitlin Clark doesn't happen entirely organically. There's a push. What Angel Reese did, she created what people truly need, which is a rivalry.
Angel Reese has done that and did that for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, and I do think she helped. Without Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark
wouldn't be as big as she is.
Caitlin Clark also blew up before the Angel Reese thing. That is a myth. She blew up before. Go look at the ratings for the games before then. Go look at the attendance for the games before then.
The most telling aspect of their fan bases is the tone. Clark's supporters cheer her on because of her achievements, setting records, excelling in must-win competitions, and displaying poise and confidence. In contrast, Watkins often seems positioned as an alternative, with many of her fans focused more on opposing Clark's success than on celebrating her own accomplishments, rooting for her simply because they want to see Clark fail.
Juju was allowed to come out in the draft. Fever they will regret that they took Caitlin Clark #1. If they match up in a tournament, 1000% Juju.
And that's where the comparison completely falls apart. Clark's notoriety has grown organically through her play, not through politics. The impact, the stats, and the accolades all point to one undeniable truth. Caitlin Clark is simply exceptional. The scoreboard, ticket sales, and viewership will always tell the truth, no matter how much the media tries to spin the narrative. Caitlin Clark didn't just raise the standard, she redefined it. Until Watkins can prove herself on equal footing, the comparison will remain nothing more than wishful thinking.
Absolutely devastating to see the injury to Juju Watkins and see her in pain. She is so talented, so skilled. She moves so effortlessly. But even when you think about off the court, how much she has done for the community and for LA and how much she loves the game and how much she gives to the game and to her team, it's just devastating. Juju is tough. She's so talented, skilled, athletic, tough, physical. Like, she just embodies what it means to be a hooper. And you watch her go down, and it's not dramatic when you say it's devastating.
Yes.
It felt deflating, and
as if those points appeared on the scoreboard by magic, some still try to undermine the game by suggesting that Caitlin Clark's race is the only reason she gets attention, despite breaking nearly every scoring record in NCAA history. On the other hand, Juju Watkins receives significant praise, even though her achievements fall short on nearly every quantifiable level.
Los Angeles native is widely considered one of the best players in the country, if not the best, just 54 points shy of breaking Kelsey Mitchell's all-time record for most points among Division I women over her first 2 seasons. She had already outscored Kate Clark through 2 seasons, who holds the record for a D1 career on the women's side.
Where was the criticism when Angel Reese taunted Clark on the biggest stage? Why weren't think pieces written about their behavior? Let Caitlin Clark show even a hint of confidence or emotion, and suddenly she's public enemy #1. That's not sports journalism. It's hypocrisy with a megaphone. Caitlin Clark isn't afforded the luxury of being called a confident young woman, while Watkins is being heralded as the future of the sport before she's even earned it. Instead, Clark is labeled egotistical and criticized for celebrating a big shot, with questions raised about her sportsmanship. If Juju Watkins were truly on Clark's level, she wouldn't need media protection. Her performance and her fans would speak for themselves, with the story backing up the numbers.
NBA overall. The WNBA has had several white superstars before Caitlin, Breonna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, but as great as they've been, can't pass the ball like Caitlin can. They can't orchestrate and control games like Caitlin Clark.
That's the issue. The audience knows the hype around Watkins isn't authentic, and they recognize that the connection fans have with Caitlin Clark cannot be manufactured. As a result, the media must create a narrative to match her immense impact. When Clark plays, arenas sell out, and her games draw the highest viewership ever. The real distinction is that her name trends because people genuinely want to see her perform. In contrast, Watkins' media momentum isn't based on merit. It's driven by pushback from those who can't accept that Clark is breaking the mold. This isn't so much about promoting Watkins. It's about trying to hold Caitlin back. The hype around Watkins isn't because she's better than Clark, but because there's a desire to find someone to challenge Clark's dominance. That's the issue. The audience sees through the hype around Watkins and recognizes that the connection fans have with Caitlin Clark can't be manufactured. As a result, the media feels the need to create a narrative that aligns with her undeniable impact. When Clark plays, arenas sell out, and her games set viewership records. What truly sets her apart is that her name trends because people genuinely want to see her play. In contrast, Watkins' media momentum is not driven by merit. It's fueled by those who struggle to accept that Clark is redefining the game. This isn't about promoting Watkins. It's about trying to hold Caitlin back. The hype around Watkins isn't because she's better than Clark. It's because there's a push to find someone who can challenge her dominance.